This video is made in tribute to Nat19's Kickstarter, The Setting Guide to Redia, a 5th edition setting that has 3 new classes, over 100 subclasses, spells, adventure hooks, over 150 stat blocks, 30 new races, 150 sub-races, and honestly at this point it would be easier to explain what this 500-page book doesn't have. During my Kickstarter, The Complete Waifu Handbook, Nat19 was kind enough to shout us out, and these 4 abridged characters are us giving them thanks. But on top of that, I also have decided to back their project at the highest tier I possibly can afford, so feel free to go out and check out Setting Guide to Redia and support their Kickstarter today. Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart and welcome back to our look at Project Mouthwash's Unlimited Bladeworks Abridged series. Last week we took a look at fan favorite Archer, and today we're looking at Saber, aka King Arthur, aka the reason why a lot of people are confused when they look up historical figures and see a bunch of anime girls with the same face. This bitch got millennial boys into history the same way Hetalia got millennial girls into history. Sexy characters with a lot of weird hentai and fanfiction. If you missed my Archer video, that's fine. There's just a lot to explain when it comes to the series, and I'm unfortunately gonna have to repeat myself a lot this month. The most basic explanation about this series is that it is about a boy named Shiro that got caught up in the 5th Holy Grail War. During this war, 7 mages summoned 7 mythical heroes to serve as ultra-powerful familiars called servants. Saber is one of these mythical heroes summoned to the Saber class, and is considered the best servant by everyone in this war. Her secret identity is King Arthur, who, at least in this setting, was born a girl, but due to sexism at the time, hid her identity and pretended to be a man. Saber is summoned by Shiro Emiya in a desperate attempt to escape Lancer's attack. She is fresh off the events of Fate Zero and is carrying a lot of baggage from the end of that particular series, but otherwise doesn't really let it show. Also, despite Fate being a very important series to me, I never actually finished Fate Zero. I probably should go back and do that. I watched season 1. It's real good. However, at the beginning of Unlimited Bladeworks, Saber acts very closely to how she did in the visual novel. She is dutiful, noble, and professional, being the servant that honestly takes the Holy Grail War the most seriously. Because she is basically the same character as she is in the visual novel, except her personality is turned up to 11, we will keep the same starting alignment as we did in the VN, and as such, Saber begins the abridged series at lawful good. However, with all of that out of the way, let's go.
If we run out of sandwiches, should I start acquiring the sandwiches of other people in the park? I'm not normally a thief, but if it's for the cause and sandwiches, I'm in for a pound.
You're not going to get this, but I just finished working through some really heavy nonsense with another guy. I'm going to take it out on Lancer. BRB.
Saber is introduced when Shiro is about to be killed by the Lancer servant. Saber saves his life, but then immediately tries to kill Lancer in order to both blow off some steam and to eliminate another servant. Originally, due to the dialogue, we thought it was chaotic neutral, but I'm still gonna go with lawful good on this.
I'm going to go kill the master before I develop any attachment to them, and someone chops off their hand or shoots them in a wheelchair.
When Lancer failed an ultimate attack, he speaks his piece and leaves. Without explaining anything that's going on to the oblivious Shiro, Saber also leaves, planning to turn a specific person into sword spaghetti. Shiro follows Saber and uses one of his command spells to stop the fighting. Saber is acting quickly and decisively, but considering she's coming out of the events of Fate Zero, she's a bit on edge and gets a chaotic good for acting like this.
I'm not sure how I feel about you referring to the most sacred of holy reliquaries offhandedly as a mere cup.
Episode 2 is dedicated to catching Shiro and the audience up on the Holy Grail War. After talking to both Rin and Kodamine, Shiro decides to participate. After leaving the Exposition Church, they are attacked by Ilya and Berserker. This goes on for a bit, but is cut short when Archer nukes the battlefield. During this time, Saber protects both Rin and Shiro, giving her a lawful good.
I fixed you because Saber said if you died from a wound Archer dealt you, she'd rather die than form a contract with me.
I owe you my life, Rin.
Yeah, like twice.
Unfortunately, during the fight against Berserker, Archer's nuke almost killed Shiro. Saber convinces Rin to save his life. Since Saber needs Shiro to stay alive or else she might end up becoming Rin's servant, and Rin has already outed herself to be a creep in this series, I think this personal interest in Shiro's survival kind of shifts it from lawful to neutral good. Can't blame Rin on this one though. She is right.
I like Baber. She's my Baber. Frankly, you should give Baber to me.
The following day, Shiro is nearly killed by Rin, and then nearly killed by Ryder before Rin and Shiro decide to officially team up.
You're not going to school anymore.
Saber, yes I am.
Fine. You're still going to school, but I'm going with you everywhere.
Saber, no you're not.
Fine. Not everywhere, but I'm going to school with you.
Saber.
Learning of Shiro's abundant near-death experiences, Saber demands that she be Shiro's bodyguard, but he refuses and opts for sword training instead. I'm going to go with lawful good for trying to look after him, even if Shiro doesn't let her.
Master? Just checking you didn't cut yourself on any loose glass, and you're gone. Of course you're gone.
I literally let you sleep 50 feet from the house and a servant gets you.
That night, Shiro gets kidnapped in his sleep. Saber tracks him to the temple and he's held hostage. Too bad the Saber servant that is guarding the entrance and won't let her go unless she defeats him in combat. Turns out this other Saber is actually the assassin servant. The two bond over sword fighting, but their battle is interrupted by a dying Shiro. I'll go with lawful good for trying to save him, and then I'll add an additional lawful good for treating poor assassin who is just not having a good time being summoned as a fictional servant with respect.
At your behest, I have been summoned from your house!
The next day, while Shiro is at school, Shinji and Ryder use her noble phantasm to absorb all the students' mana. Shiro summons Saber to help them defeat Ryder and save everyone. Although somebody else took care of Ryder before they could get to her, I'm still going to give her a lawful good for being so valiant.
I do not appreciate how dismissive you're being. She was murdered in cold blood.
What, were you dating?
Regrouping after Ryder's attack on the school, Archer joins his pals and reveals that Kazuki is Caster's master and is also responsible for killing Ryder. Saber doesn't appreciate the lack of reverence that Archer is using for Ryder during their meeting and challenges to embattle if he refuses to take back his words. I'm actually going to give Saber a lawful good for defending Ryder's honor in this scene.
Rin, why is Archer not present? I'm concerned that he might Hiroshima us again.
Maybe don't start using that as a verb just because you heard me say it.
Later, the gang stake out an abandoned gas station that's between Kazuki's home and work in order to ambush him at night. They attack, but not even Saber is a match for Kazuki and his super assassin skills. After beating up Shiro, Kazuki and Caster decide that they don't really want to fight for now anyway, and peace out. Since they all plan to fight him in the middle of nowhere to make sure innocent bystanders wouldn't get hurt in the crossfire, we're gonna give another lawful good for this.
Except when it isn't.
Except when it isn't.
That's the golden rule of all Grail Wars. All things follow a strict set of guidelines and traditions. Except when they don't.
The day after their failed attack on Kazuki and Caster, Saber visits Shiro in his pipe shed. She tries to make him feel a little bit better about getting the shit beat out of him, while unsuccessful is a nice sentiment. I'm not sure it's entirely ding-worthy, but Archer shows up to help Shiro speedrun some magic advancement. All the while, Shiro and Archer low-key flirt. For showing respect to both Shiro and Shiro, I'll give this whole interaction another good lawful good.
Oh man, what a great date we're having! I'm so glad we left Archer at home and came here without any defenses on this real date we're having!
The next day, Rin and Baber and Shiro, nice, go on a date to lure out Caster and defeat her. This actually works, but Caster has one of Shiro's teachers as a hostage and offers them in exchange for Saber. Shiro offers up his command seal to save his teacher. Saber is then forced to kill Shiro, to which Saber intentionally deals a non-lethal blow. Archer arrives late, helping Rin and Shiro escape Caster. Neutral for agreeing to the date and as a means to lure out Caster, even if it's only made the situation worse. And chaotic good for disobeying Caster's orders so that she can spare Shiro's life.
Just which servant did you steal?
Only the greatest of them all. Help?
Now under Caster's control, Saber gets sidelined for the remainder of Season 1. Caster puts her in a poison dress and attempts to humiliate her. Thanks to Saber's magic resistance, she holds out and refuses to work for Caster for the remainder of the season. Lawful good again for refusing to work for an evil master. I'm realizing now that this video won't be as long as the others that comes out this month because Saber honestly follows along the plot and doesn't really change. This is also because Saber isn't fairly heavily featured in the Unlimited Bladeworks timeline, as she is in Fate, and that's mostly because she isn't the love interest of the main character. Although, that ending. There's a reason it's called the good ending. Saber is less a character in this timeline and more of a plot device, considering every single character wants to sleep with her. And I mean everyone. She still has a lot of fun character moments, but her personality isn't being affected by a relationship, so she has no reasons to have her worldviews changed or challenged, especially considering she and her master, for this season, share the same alignment. We will talk more about Shiro next week, though. Remember to check out Nat 19's setting guide to Redia. Thank you to the patrons, and I'll see you all next time.